boys become champions. Celtic way, wait for the ball from side to side, and then tell me, try to hide, the wait for the ball from front to back, attack, 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 67, and then he's a bursman, the buzzing and the thousands, you see the boy become champion, 67, and then he
Hello, sorry about that. Welcome to the Celtic Rumours TV Bawz and Bovril podcast, episode number 99. Thanks everybody that's tuning in. A few of the lads are for the forum, and Jonas, Terence and Michael. And Jonas will be joining us as guest later on. We'll be discussing yesterday's game against Motherwell. Mikey was at the Leipzig game in Wednesday that Mikey and Jonas are both going to. We'll just have a general chat about the SPFL in general with Jonas being on here. Jonas is a Dundee United fan, as you know. A few shout outs now to some of the regulars for the forum. Tim Alloy, Richie and his family, a Glasgow Green, Bobby Sutherland. Bobby, thanks for joining us again, bud. Terence is coming on, I've said. Tim, David Gallagher, thanks again, mate, for coming in. You as well, Brian, and again, thanks a lot for that the other day. You know, it's really appreciate it. I think that's really just, well, we're at 607 subs now, so thanks very much to everybody who subscribes, tunes in, etc. And we've got a forum, a Discord group. We've even started a video game in Discord, so if you're into video games, come and join that. You're more than welcome to come and set up FIFA games or whatever it is you play. The links to everything's in the description box below on our link tree and the forum. Any Celtic fans here, they're really more than welcome to join us. So that's it. I'll just go and get the lads on now. Is everybody there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me, Mark?
Aye, Terence, I've got you there. Aye, Terence, thanks for coming on.
No worries, mate.
Right. You hear me as well, yeah?
Yep, got you, Mikey. Aye.
All right, lads.
Right, there's Jonas. Good man, Jonas. Hi, Peggy. Nice to see you in, Peggy. So, well, what did you think of the game yesterday, Mikey?
I put a wee post on the site yesterday. It was such a horrible game to watch, and like I said, don't get it wrong, atmosphere-wise, really good. Like, you're always going to get that in the Green Brigade section, but as for the game itself, it was absolutely brutal to watch. Some of the people say the chances and everything missed in that, but the overall, overall play for it, it was just a poor. It was very, very poor. Like I say, 3 points is 3 points, but we are going through a bit of a patch just now that. Like, going into one of the biggest game in a few years in Leipzig on Wednesday. They're going to need to be on a different level come Wednesday.
It didn't look too good for where I was sitting either, Mike. It really didn't. It just seems so flat, isn't it? It's just flat with no.
It was a bit flat. Even like I say, to be fair, like people will say it as well that we're actually at the game, even atmosphere wise, even in our section, it was a bit. And at stages of the game, it was a bit dull. And like you say, it's amazing what, like I say, I've seen the highlights back, and it's amazing being at the game to watching the highlights. They actually looked better on like the 2-3 minute highlights than actually being at the game. Like some of the performances for certain players on the pitch, absolutely shocking. Like, and we need some players. Like we need players back for Wednesday if we've got any chance of getting anything against Leipzig.
Who did you think was shocking?
The worst player on the pitch was Welsh by a mile. So poor.
Didn't do too well. I usually stick up for Welsh, but I wasn't that impressed with him yesterday, to be honest.
I've never really been a fan in that, but
you're just jealous he's here.
I wish I did.
The big blonde flowing locks. You just
one thing, I wish I had his hair, but no his face. Like, you know, I mean, because at least with hair, you can get that sort of. You're stuck with that face. Like, yeah, he's just like kind of a lot of guys in the forum not like him and that, but he's like seen him again live. He's just poor. He's not good enough to play for Celtic. And again, it was proven yesterday. He was bullied for that Van Veen all game. The Motherwell striker, like very poor. And the way that like says Ange wants to play, you need the players to date, and Welsh isn't any of them. He's too slow.
I actually think, I mean, everybody was on Ralston's back. I was as big as that, but I held my hands up. He stunned it around. But I actually think Welsh is looking as if he's going a bit backwards for me with Mikey.
He isn't a good. Like he says, I like again. It's no Ralston's position. I'd rather Ralston played.
I've suggested that a few times, trying Ralston in at centre back. I have suggested
he's a big guy, yeah. And like you say, Celtic were never on the back foot really yesterday, the whole game. So they could have probably played with Jens and Ralston. And I would have anyway over Welsh because he just slows the game down too much. Yeah.
That could be a handy, like another string to Ralston's bow if he could get a grippy playing at that centre back position. What about you, Terence? What did you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was dreadful. It was like it was like pulling teeth. It was just awful to watch. And there's, like Michael has said there's a couple of players there, and like Welsh again was just dreadful. But if I don't understand why Ange keeps picking Maeda. He was absolutely dreadful yesterday. He's offered I don't know how many games now. He's offered next to nothing, and like we had said it more than once here. The Celtics finishing, and I like Kyogo, but his finishing at the minute is absolutely chronic. Like, I mean, there was one he missed in the second half where Abada came back to bat and he squared at him, and he's 5 yards out and he didn't even hit the target. Like, I all around I just thought it was so slow. There was no bit of bite to it. There was no nothing. It was like even from McGregor sending off, and I know you'll probably go through it in further detail. Yeah, it's not a great ball from Atate, but there's no one around. McGregor's in the centre back position. Where's everyone else gone? Like, you know, I just thought, and it was typical of Celtic. They miss a hatful of decent chances, and then they give away a stupid goal, and all of a sudden Motherwell think they're in a game. Whereas they should have been dead and buried. It should have been 3-0, as bad as the game was. And that seems to have slowly crept into the game. The pace has gone out of the game in the last 2 or 3 games. And we can't say that it's after the St Mirren game, because these are the guys we all would have wanted in the team. And like, there wasn't too many of them yesterday. I thought Hatate had a fine game. Yeah, the pass he made was a shocker. I thought Juranovic was a decent game, but a lot of the other guys were very, very poor. And as I said, without repeating myself, Maeda keeps playing. You're playing with 10 men at the minute, because he's not offering anything to the game, in my opinion.
No, the only thing I can see Maeda offering really turns is just like he's kind of energy. You get what I mean? Like running a bit. He's not actually adding anything to like a kind of football sense.
I know, but Mark, if you want to do that, let him join Glasgow Athletic Club. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, but that's what I mean. That's the only thing I can really see that Maeda is bringing into the team is that kind of just running about when it's pressing, but we don't seem to be doing that pressing.
I know, but all that's you know, Maeda's not doing that. He kind of just running around with a bit like a headless chicken. And I mean, some of the stuff is I'm not trying to just pick on him, but the last couple of games I've watched him, he's been really, really poor, really poor. And I mean, surely Abada deserves to start the next game. Like, he has to start the next game. I'd be amazed if he goes with Moyedeg, and I really would.
Do you think maybe it was a wee bit an international hangover, or is that just maybe making me look for an
Nah,
excuse?
Mark. This was as bad as nearly as bad as the St Mirren game. It was nearly as bad. There's this international hangover things is a crack of shit. Like, I don't buy that for 1 second. Like, because some of them with the greatest respect weren't playing. Like,
there's that. Look, can you see the screen there, Terence?
Yeah.
Right, there's that thing. Right, the actual badge is blocking out the actual Kyogo's percentage thing, but it's 59% shot accuracy. So, I mean, I've said that before. I don't think, for me, 100% Giacomakis is our best kind of out-and-out striker.
I think he'd have finished. I think he'd have finished one or two of those Giacomakis myself.
Aye. What about you, Mikey? Would you prefer Giacomakis being the main man?
Because Giacomakis is a striker, Kyogo, isn't it?
I've said that all along. I'd like to see Kyogo getting like a kind of free role, like Lubo and that used to play. Just give them the ball and let them see what they can do with it. Because I don't think he's got that kind of instinct as a striker.
He's too weak. That's what I mean. He's far too weak. The defenders didn't really mark him anyway because he just floats about anyway. Like, whilst Giacomakis, every time he plays, there's always two centre backs on him, so it makes loads of space around them. You know what I mean? It's just like the finishing yesterday. Like I said, what Terence says, Juranovic, no bad. Taylor, no bad. Hatate was good. And then see after that. And I kind of like obviously being for a Hashi and that Kyogo, he should be better. But Callum McGregor had the chance yesterday. Callum McGregor shooting is absolutely shocking.
Aye.
Like, I've said it before loads of times, but again, that chance yesterday, and I watched it in the highlights again, he just never hits the target.
But there's another thing. He seems to have got worse at that as he's got older, didn't he? I mean, when he was younger, he popped in a good few goals.
He used to take penalties. That's what I mean. Normally, if you're a good striker of a ball or that, or good at finishing, you take the penalties,
Aye, I mean, I'm not comparing them, but he was a bit like Paul Scholes, wasn't it, for the kind of arriving late in the box job numbers kind of thing like that, and he just seems to have forgot that.
He's been very poor for Celtic the last few games, Like, very poor. He was slack over in Shakhtar as well. It was him that gave the ball away for Mudryk to score the equaliser.
Aye.
Like I said, I like to consider him kind of fair, And I go on about McGregor, how good he is in that, but you got fair's fair, And he has been very poor the last few games,
I don't like him in that kind of linchpin CDM role. I've said that, and I said it as well, that he would get fun out there Champions League level, and he has. Even against Madrid, I thought McGregor was a bit lost looking kind of during the. Although the first hour was a great performance, but I just don't like him in that position. I really don't. When he needs to tackle and cover the defenders and things like that, it's just not his natural game.
Mm-hmm. You're taking away a lot of his qualities, though, Mark. I think when you ask him to do that role, do you know? I think McGregor's, as we all would agree, he's much better going forward than he is going back. And do you know? I mean, like when Celtic have him in the holding role, the normal CDM is meant to generally sit there, cover the centre backs especially the way Celtic are playing. McGregor's normally the furthest midfielder forward at times, and we're leaving a load of space. Like as Michael said there, and you said it, the Shakhtar Donetsk one, like he sells himself. He absolutely sells himself going for the ball. I don't think a player playing in that position who regularly plays there would have gambled on that one. I just don't think a general holding midfielder would have gambled that, because as soon as he did, he left all the space behind him. And Donetsk in behind him straight away. And especially at the minute, Mark, the fact that we've got Welsh, who is having a nightmare at the minute the last few games, and Jens, who's struggling as well. All the more reason to make sure that you've got someone in front of them that can help them out. But you know, we've said it here, Mark, loads of times. I don't like McGregor in that position. Now there's obviously going to be the chance that someone's going to have to come in for the St. Johnson game. Ideally, you'd imagine it's going to be the Danish lad.
I'm looking forward
to seeing him playing. I'm looking forward to seeing a genuine guy, a big unit, 6'2", something like that. Hopefully, a good physicality about him, and see what he does. And hopefully, that puts basically that into Ange's head and going, okay, look, I need to play with one of these guys, a genuine one of these guys, because even in Scotland, Celtic can't get away with it because they miss so many fucking chances. Excuse my French. Do you know they missed like they'd some? I think I saw the stats. It's something like 17 shots on goal. I think they'd 17 shots at goal and only 6 on target. Do you know that's brutal. Like Celtic have actually. Do you know it's just guys demands like.
17 shots on target terms.
Yeah, and only
no
17
target,
shots.
17 shots at goal, but really only 6 of them on target as well. That's poor. That's what Mikey's saying there as well. It's just no. You're not getting the kind of return you're looking for the chances we're making.
That's not good enough. That's probably about a 30% return rate, I'd say, give or take. Just, wouldn't be much more than that. Like that's brutal. This is Celtic at home against Motherwell, where you're going to have tons of possession, tons of opportunity, and you're struggling to hold on to win a game. And that's like, apart from Hatate scores an absolute screamer to win it. Like that's, it said these are games that Celtic, 2 months ago would have been cruising. They look a different team at the minute.
They're just know that same urgency and fight and pressing and pushing that we've seen. What about you, Jonas? Jonas, you're not saying much, but what do you think is a Dundee? I know, but without getting into kind of 9-0 game or that, but as an opposition fan, who would you rather face, Giakoumakis or Kyogo?
Probably Kyogo's sort of, like you say, easier to bully just because he's physique and that, I suppose, but he is more elusive with his movement. But Giakoumakis is, he's probably likelier to take more chances. So yeah, probably Giakoumakis is the one that you wouldn't want to play against.
Did you see any of the highlights of the game or that?
Yeah, I did. I've seen all the highlights.
What did you think of the penalty? The penalty claim, but I don't even know who the Motherwell player was. The handball that the guy who was already yellow card it.
I think it was a penalty.
I was surprised that it wasn't given.
Well, put it this way: it's one of them ones that if it happens for your team, you're screaming for it. You know what I mean?
Aye.
Would you be irritated if it went against you? Maybe, but then it's probably more a penalty than it's not. You know what I mean?
Aye. What about the red card?
But there was someone round on the cover, I think, though. You know what I mean? I don't think the boy was clean through, was it? There was someone coming round on the cover.
Welsh was actually nearer like the goal than McGregor and the attacker was. I thought Welsh would have got across to cover it.
That's what I mean. So the rules are, if it's a clear goal scoring opportunity in your last man, it should be a red card. But the boy still had a defender to beat, and he didn't really have control of the ball. So for it to be a red card, I think it's overkill.
I didn't think it deserved a red card. It was a stinking pass right enough for Hatate.
Yeah, it's a booking because it's cynical because he's just dragged the boy to the ground, but it's not a red. There's someone on the cover.
One of the things that annoyed me after the game was Ange, and a comment he made after the game, and he says, the players are the FIFA 23 players, where every shot goes in. And I just thought it was far, like, there's tongue-in-cheek and then there's just ridiculous. And that comment was nonsense. The chances that Celtic missed yesterday, you expect Burns to score them. Now, we're not talking about them wanting to score every chance, but 17 attempts on goal, 6 on target for a professional football team. It's absolutely garbage,
Terrible. Like, as I said, Michael, the Kyogo miss where Abada goes to cross it and it comes back to Abada and then he crosses it in. Kyogo's inside the 6-yard box. He doesn't even hit the goals. He misses it by 2 yards right. As I said, that's like my area a couple of weeks ago. That's like missing your mouth with a fork. It's hard to believe you can miss the goals from there.
He missed 2 open goals, so he missed that one that you're on about, and he missed the rebound off a Hatate hitting the post in the first half as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, same. Yeah,
that was another open goal he missed.
They're not good enough. And to be honest, sorry, Mark, to go back to your point, I would think it was a red card, because if that was roles reverse,
if roles are reversed, you're screaming for it. But when you look at the rules,
I think it was a red card because, the argument is Welsh might get there, but Welsh is a good bit out on the right. As you're looking at the telly, he's a good bit out on the left hand side. Obviously, the right hand side is where he's played. Yeah, I mean, if McGregor doesn't hack your man down, your man's got the run in McGregor. I as much as it pains me to think it, I would have thought it was a red card. No, it's all of Celtic's own making. That's the problem. But I do think it was a red card. I don't think Welsh would have got back before your man would have got a shot away. But again, look, that's what everyone's opinion is different, but that would be mine. I would have thought, I saw it when I saw it, I thought, that's a red anyway. That's, again, it's only personal opinion.
No, I wouldn't have gave it. I wouldn't have, just for the simple fact that Welsh was in the way back to get. I thought he'd have made the challenge, no bother.
Why was there such a gap between both centre backs?
I was asking that, Mike. Yeah,
I don't know whether it's Carter Vickers is out, Mikey.
Welsh was in Juranovic's position. So, I mean, I'm all for like an attack and that, but I mean a bit of common sense as well, and a bit of respect to the opposition as well, And Motherwell aren't a bad side, And at that point, like I said, it was quite clear that we were never going to score again, So at some point in the game, it's no, you just got to calm the game down and just keep the ball,
Well, Motherwell,
I don't know if that red card stands. Is that no a 3-game ban?
No, it's only a 1-game ban.
It's only a 1
So
game.
he only misses. I saw even. I wasn't sure it myself, but I seen some guy on Twitter confirming it. He only misses the St Johnson game.
Yeah, they said 1 game. Yeah.
I mean,
to be honest, that's a blessing in disguise anyway.
I was just going to say that. It's maybe a bit of a stain on his disciplinary record. So see if you can appeal it. You might as well brass neck it. Everybody else does, but it could be a good thing because it gives McGregor a break for a week.
I'd give the guys like Abelgard and that. You got to, like you say, they brought in that boy. That guy's highly rated player, and they brought him in. You got to start getting guys again. And Maeda needed a rest, and like Haksabanovic and that's going to need to start getting a game as well. Like say, even against St Mirren when he came on, he showed a bit of fight, and he was one of the few players that actually looked like he wanted to do. But and giving him like 10 minutes, 5 minutes a game, that's no use.
No, definitely no.
I mean, Abad is. I think is Abad like one of our top goal scorers this season, and he can't even again.
But that's the one I can't understand, Michael. How is he picking Maeda, who isn't performing, and leaving Abad on the bench? I just don't understand it. And there's no it's not as if, as you said there a while ago, Mark. It's not this where Celtic are playing with this high press, high intensity, because they're not doing it. No. And he's not offering anything to the game. And I'm trying to look to see what Ange is seeing, and I can't see it unless someone can explain it to me why he's doing it. I just don't understand it.
No, I don't. I think Maeda's needing drop for Abada. Abada, I mean, look at even that we've spoke about him coming out here at a young age and what he done last season. Abada for me's got potentially going to be as good a player as you like, say, Jota, and that is for me. I think that. I don't see why Abada can't reach the heights that Jota's kind of planning and reaching at his career.
See, I like Haksabanovic, Like I said, and I know I've seen a limited time of him, and there's only a lot you can see on the line and stuff and that, but you just need to see what previous managers have said about the guy and that. Like, he's a top winger, him, And like I said, and okay, I know Jota put the crossing in that, but he's not exactly set the world alight,
No, and Jota seems to be
getting greedy.
Getting caught up in his own hype and overthinking things and trying to be fancy and stuff like that.
Like I'm all for, like he says, players love it when they're doing well and they're getting their credit and accolades and man of the matches and that, but they've got to take it on the chin when they're poor as well, And they have been poor, and
you can't just sugarcoat things, you know what I mean? We're always like that on here, Mikey. If we've got something to say, we'll kind of say it, you know what I mean?
A lot of fans don't like you criticising players, and everybody's got an opinion, but at the end of the day,
but see that, Mikey, criticising a player for having a bad game, that's one thing. You know what I mean? But you've got guys on the phone that is just constant hassling one guy. That the magic pool, about Welsh.
Yeah.
It's not about that for months and months and months. And according to him, right, and I said that to him the other day, because he hadn't mentioned it. He mentioned every one of our defenders are rank rotten, apart from Carter Vickers. And I said, right, we'll see every one of the defenders. If Ange came in, he's okayed the signing every one of them, contract extensions for them, or he's promoted them for the youth team. So it's down to Ange then. If you think the defence isn't good enough, week in, week out, you've got to put it on to the manager instead of just saying that players are garbage.
Lee Taylor is outstanding, At left back for Celtic last wee while, that guy doesn't get the praise he deserves,
No, I've stuck up for Taylor all along. Paul, he was Mikey was a whipping boy all along. There's Paul asking if you want to think Seagrass needs a run of games because the Hearts lackey coming off his line.
The thing is though, he's probably no great with his feet and the way they play, they release the ball quick and that. So probably technically a better footballer, is he? So it probably suits the system a wee bit better. But like I say, I don't know. I don't see enough of them to know, like, if does he not command his area? Is that his problem? Like, he doesn't come for crosses, or is that what he's getting criticised
Well, Hart,
for?
aye, Hart doesn't he? And I've criticised him for it as well, Jonas. He doesn't. For me, he doesn't command his area well. See, like,
Well-
if your keeper's coming out for we all watch enough football and that. If your keeper comes out and goes for a ball, see if he doesn't get it, 9 times out of 10, the ref's going to give a foul in the keeper's
Aye.
what's the word?
In
For the
keeper's
keeper,
favour, yeah.
aye, for that, aye. But Hart never seems to come out to try and claim a lot of cross balls and that. I have said that about him as well.
Aye, we wouldn't
Goalkeepers are a protected species in this day.
Aye. Yeah, the slightest wee nudge on them making, it's a free kick to the goalkeeper, isn't it?
I think the problem with Joe Hart is that I noticed against Motherwell, he kind of came for 2 crosses, but even when he jumped for it, you couldn't get a fag paper under his feet. I mean, like he's never been known for that, and the kind of he's like shot stopper and that. But even again, it's people say it's typical Michael Monin, but even that equaliser for Mudryk and Shakhtar, I thought it went right through the middle. Like even that still annoys me. That one chance that Shakhtar had and he let it in, and it was literally straight at him. I thought he went down. Like I just like Seagrist as well. He showed last season against Celtic and that. He's a very, very good shot stopper. And he absolutely towers Joe Hart. And he's very commanding. Like he's a bit like Fraser Foster in that way.
I still say that was a great signing. I really do. I've said that all along. We all thought Seagrist would have been a great signing, but we couldn't see him signing. Mind we spoke about it often enough. Even
you didn't give a player for Scotland or a backup player that kind of deal if you didn't see it being long term.
Thing is, the one thing I will say as far as Seagrist is concerned, when he was at us, like Benji's biggest problem probably was for a guy his size, he didn't command his box enough. So that's probably the weakest part of his game. Although he's a giant, he isn't actually great at coming for crosses. He always struggled, even when he was at his peak with us. Like, yeah, you'd back him to save more shots, but you always got a wee bit of sort of nervy when he was facing an aerial bombardment, because for a guy of his size, he wasn't as commanding as he should have been. He should have been wiping everything out, but he was quite timid. He used to so he was prone to sort of staying on his line quite a lot. Whether or not he's improved that, because, well, you've not seen enough of him play, like, but it wasn't a great strength of his when he was at United, to be honest with you.
Just basically it's kind of the same as Hart. His shot stopping was his high point, kind of thing, Jonas.
His kicking was his poorest part of his game. The amount of times he would count it, he would just hoof kicks into the stand. Like his distribution and his was probably the weakest part of his game. But whether or not the way that Celtic are obviously training, it'll be completely different to the way we're not trained to play from the back, because we've not got the sort of squad to be able to do it. So it's maybe different for what he's getting trained with you boys. He's maybe getting trained by more at his feet in your sessions, but that was his worst part, probably his distribution.
It's a massive part of goalkeepers' games these days, isn't it? We've said that before, all this kind of sweeper-keeper stuff in that.
Right.
That's fine though, like wanting to play that, but you've still got to have the personnel to do it.
Aye. I've said a keeper's to keep the ball at the net, Mikey. I've said that. That's first and foremost what a goalkeeper's got to do.
But that's what I mean. Like, it's all right trying to train somebody on it, but just because you train somebody on something doesn't mean they can do it.
But if they don't have the ability, as you said, Michael, if they don't have the ability, all the training in the world isn't going to change that.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at obviously, I've got the starting 11 obviously in front of us yesterday, and then I'm just going through the 11, and like it says, even being at the game helps. Joe Hart, poor. Juranovic was actually okay. I actually think that was Hart's fault.
I blame Hart for that. Hart should have been screaming at him at the top of his voice to leave that.
Welsh, worst player on the pitch. Jens, poor. Taylor, I thought both fullbacks were actually no bad. O'Reilly, non-existent. McGregor, poor. Hatate, man of the match. Maeda, Kyogo and Jota, absolutely rotten. You know what I mean? Very poor.
Someone needs to tell Jota as well. If you look at the goal that O'Reilly headed and Kyogo taps in, there's one or two instances where Jota actually gets the ball and he gives it first time and it opens, and obviously it's a good cross and leads to a goal. And then there's other times where you think, are you going to try and beat every player on the pitch with this ball?
That's what it seems to be. That's what it seems to be.
He gets the ball and you're thinking, right, chance. And he goes might go around the fella, and then he's got to come back around the fella. And then you're like, will you cross the fucking ball. Seriously. It's like watching Michael Flatley at times in a Celtic jersey. There's legs going in all directions. You're like, you can't beat everyone every time. And I said this to you before as well, Mac. That was a massive... Now, I'm not comparing the two players skill-wise, but a massive criticism of Mikey Johnson, that he tried to beat everyone rather than just the time. Sometimes it's better just to give the ball in first time. And as I said, when Jota done it a couple of times yesterday, the Kyogo's first goal was a prime example. The ball came to him, he whipped it in. The McGregor one that Michael was talking about a few moments ago as well, he whipped it in first time and McGregor made a complete arse of it. So I don't understand why they're not saying to him on the sideline, the management team are going, listen, there's times we just need you to get the ball in early. You don't have to try and beat a man every single time you get the ball. And it's very frustrating to watch. Like,
how many times, me and you, Mark, we spoke about this, did Jota against Shakhtar over dribble it and never got his shot away?
Aye. I can't even mind the number, Mikey, but at the time we spoke about it, we knew the number, but it just seems to be a part that's coming into his game, didn't it?
Well,
maybe doing a peg or two.
Like me and Jonas, obviously we were together quite a lot, and we watched 3 games or something today. We're in the middle watching Atalanta there and Fenerbahce against Besiktas, and the amount of times I shout at the screen, just shoot or just put the ball in the box.
Aye,
it's mental. Like, it's no hard, eh? I mean, the Bawz in the box, you can't score.
The one against Shakhtar, he ran for the left wing right into the 18-yard box, and it was basically, it was the kind of thing you'd have seen on a blooper view. Do you get what I mean? Just like the heedless chicken. Oh, where's he gone? Where's he gone? Where's he gone? And he went nowhere. Maybe he's just, I'm not saying he didn't drop or that. Maybe just didn't a wee bit, maybe a bit up the arse to be more a team player. And that's more the thing.
Haksabanovic plays on the left wing. That's his position. That was the reason he brought in. You've got Abada and Maeda for the right, and you've got Jota and Haksabanovic, and you've got Giacomakis and Kyogo fighting for the middle spot.
We should have that front three should be firing full cylinders every week. Whoever's chosen to keep their place in the team.
Six, well, 5, I would say, good players. I still think Maeda, he's not a football player, like, yeah. But like, he's touching, he's finishing, and like I can't. People say he works a lot on that, but just because you're fit and run quick doesn't mean you're a good player.
No, but that's all he seems to have shown us, really, Mikey. I mean, but don't get it. It's only going with YouTube. I was really excited to see Maeda coming in, because you watch his YouTube videos and him bombing in off that right hand side. It was devastating.
Yeah, he's quick. Like I said, you see it against Motherwell.
Aye, but we're just not seeing any kind of, not even an end product. We're not seeing any produce whatsoever off him, really, ain't we? No.
Like, and again, late subs again. Like, there was the subs could have been made at the half. Again, 60 minutes. I think 61 minutes was the first change. And like O'Reilly was like really bad from the start of the game as well. He's another one that was getting plaudits left, right, and centre as usual. And again, as soon as you start criticising somebody, he's been good for a. Oh, well, he's not good now, then, is he?
No,
you're only as good as your last game. You're only as good as your last game.
I love O'Reilly, but I thought he was really poor yesterday again. Aye.
You know what I mean? You're only as good as your last game, eh?
Celtic, no, Mikey. Celtic, you're only as good as your last touch of the ball. That's it doesn't matter if you scored a hat trick and then you make a bad pass. That's you're shite. We've been through this. It's only the last touch of the ball you get judged on.
The best thing about that game yesterday was the chips and curry sauce for the stall, kind of half time.
Oh, that's a push. The food at Celtic Park, Mikey. Come on, were you in the drink?
I was actually, but we came over, was I? Because of the Welsh in the CSA. You know what I mean? 5 pints in an hour and 10 minutes. I was lucky I was able to make it to the game.
I thought you weren't drinking. You said you weren't drinking.
Well, I got carried away a wee bit, did I?
Oh, did your dad drive? Was it your dad that drove down? Aye.
He drove. I'll stop back there, so I didn't want to get him into trouble.
Did your dad enjoy it?
He enjoyed it too much.
He went back every week again.
Like I said, I think he was the oldest ultra in the standing section on Saturday.
Well, at least I'm not the oldest it's been in it. So, no time yet. Then your dad's just beat me by a couple of years.
Well, that's my old man's 56, so but he's still got more hair than me, so he's doing something right,
All comes back to the hair, doesn't it?
It always comes back to the hair. Yeah. It's just as well I'm actually no first deep down about it. Like I say, it's no fair when it comes out, is it?
Jack took a picture of me the other week down with Yoda, and as soon as she showed me the picture, man, you can see it. I'm starting to go bald in the middle and that. And I've said to you, Mikey, one of the best things that could happen to me. I've no bothered my backside about here if I was about 16-year-old.
Like I say, if it was any mother brothers or that, they'd be right over to Turkey, like to pay $2.5 grand to get it redone. So
a hair transplant.
They'd be all over that like a cheap suit. So
you'll end up doing that.
Yeah,
once Donna kicks you, you'll need to be back out in the pull and that.
$2.5 grand. That can just go in the trainer collection. That ain't like that.
Aye. Oh, did you show it? What about the ones? Have you showed Jonas some yet? No. Right. No. Okay. They no came yet.
No. Next week.
Oh, right. Terence, wait. I'll send you a picture of these on Discord or on Skype later on. He's got his Mikey's boat, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think you would wear them either, Terence, to be honest.
They're probably young fellas shoes, are they?
Oh, there'll be young fellas if Mikey's bought them.
No, they're just rare.
Middle-aged, they're middle-aged.
Okay, I'm only 35.
Middle-aged will do. Middle-aged.
So
I think we could all conclude that just yesterday, very poor.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, I was expecting us to come out the traps flying. Because of the St Mirren result, I thought, the players will even be right. We need to go out here, and there was like a Celtic ladies team player or something that was on Celtic TV yesterday. I don't know who the lassie was, and she was saying that before the game as well. That she says, I expect Celtic come out the traps flying, but what we're used to seeing with them, and it was just as if we continued on for the St Mirren game, the same pace, the same style, the same just general.
Same attitude, Mark. Same attitude.
It reminded me so much of it reminded me like playing like under Rodgers a lot. A lot of useless, senseless, just passing the ball about, passing it about for no reason, rather than looking for a pass that's going to get you somewhere into the game.
And even the passing, as Michael has already mentioned it there, it was so slow. It's bad. It would be bad enough, Mark, if they were doing it and it was a bit quick and a bit sharp and movement was reasonably okay. But my God, it was like pulling teeth, as I said. You're watching it and it was like, ball is crawling along to that fella. He's crawling along. He's passing it back. You're going, Jesus, I can't wait till this is over. This is brutal. It was just an awful game to watch. And as I said, I just thought, like I said, started the same like St Mirren. Just attitude was so poor. Everything to me seemed awful. Like, you know what I mean? So, but it's as the only chemical was 3 points. Like, yeah, very lethargic. Big time.
But that is the main thing. It's the 3 points are in the bag, and when we win the league at the end of the season, we're not going to be, mind that performance against Motherwell. Do you get what I mean? It's the bigger picture. If you play poorly and come away with the points, you've still got to kind of be a bit happy. But the performance.
But you have to critique it at the same time.
Exactly. I totally agree, Terence. That's what I'm saying. But you've got to still say the performances of the last 2 games have been nowhere near good enough at all, really.
But they're nowhere near good enough, Mark. But they're nowhere near the expectation that we have for the team, because we know what they can do and we know the performances that they can put in. So, and the team that started yesterday is the team that most people would have picked as their first 11. They had the starting midfield that we would all want. So there was no excuses compared to the St Mirren game where people saying, there was loads of changes. It was the team that I would imagine the majority of people would have picked, maybe, judging on what players were fit and available, especially. So, it was just. I
don't think, even when you saw the lineup, you knew Carter Vickers was injured. I don't think anybody would maybe have picked any other starting team than yesterday.
No, I wouldn't have.
It's just been the exact same thing.
Yeah, it was just poor. Look, as I said, it's 3 points, thank God, but performances, as Michael alluded to there a few moments ago as well, you've got Leipzig Wednesday, and it needs to be an astronomical change for that game, because if they go out with even half the attitude they went out with the other day, they won't come away with a result. It's as simple as that.
No, I'd agree with that. Speaking about Leipzig, then we'll get 2 guys that are going to it. Then, haven't we? Mikey and Jonas are both going out to it. They're leaving.
Do you want to give Jonas a shout about St Johnstone before we're going to Europe?
Right, no bother.
Sorted first and then going to Europe midweek.
Aye, no bother, Mike. I knew we were going to do the chat about just the Scottish game in general. Aye. So, to be honest, it's not been a very good start for United at all this season, has it?
Well, I've just listened to you boys. I'm just having a wee laugh to myself. Listen to you boys. I'm raging at about a 2-1 win. I'd say on my left ball for a 2-1 win just now. Okay. So I think it's a slightly different angle, but no, it's just not been anywhere near good enough from us. Probably got and the thing is, we've probably, in my lifetime watching United, we probably had the best transfer window in my lifetime on paper, quality wise. Probably the best squad on paper out with the two Glasgow clubs and Hearts. So for us to start it the way we have has been absolutely catastrophic. However, the only positive there is that there's still 30 games to go. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I could take from what I've seen so far this season, unfortunately.
Do you think they should have got rid of Jack Ross?
Well, I think whether or not it was right, I think the fact that he lost the 7 and a 9-0 made his position untenable anyway. I just don't think anybody could survive those kind of defeats. I think it was the result. And then the biggest problem we've got as well is we've never replaced Butcher, which we've never replaced. We don't have a defensive midfielder. So we've all got midfielders that are all pretty football players. They can all good ball players, all want to go forward, all want to, like, you know what I mean? But there's no tackle in that midfield, and that's the problem. We're so soft, and we're so weak mentally just now that if you lose the first goal in any game, it's a momentum. And then the problem was yesterday, we dominated the first 30 minutes. We played actually quite well. It's probably the best we've played all season, apart from the AZ home leg. And then we concede one goal from a straight ball, and then it's just the panic station set in. It's just like the confidence is so fragile just now that if we go behind, we're almost beat, and something needs to change. So it's difficult at the minute. But like I say, the only saving grace is that there's still 30 games to go.
And
Jonas, sorry, Jonas, just a quick question. I said I'm only judging it on the Celtic game now in particular, but do you think that some of the Dundee United players, in a sense, certainly I think in that game, down tools when they kind of backs up to the wall or when they
there was a couple of culprits, like Ryan Edwards has been a culprit. Like he threw the toys, he downed tools, and then it was the same yesterday. He was arguing with supporters going off the pitch, and his performances have fell off a cliff since he got given the captaincy. And I think that was only because there was a couple of English clubs, Wigan and Charlton, and that were interested. So I think United panicked, gave him a 2-year contract extension and made him captain to make him stay, and probably increased his wages. And his performances have fell off a cliff since then. And then yesterday, like I say, arguing with supporters, and he had to go at supporters in the main stand, and then he had a ding-dong with a couple of boys going off the park at full time as well. So it's never good when that kind of cracks are appearing, you know what I mean? And
usually arseholes that they into, really. That's if you're going off the park and arguing with supporters, even if it's opposition fans, you're just making yourself look a bit of a dick. The thing is,
it doesn't look good when it's the club captain. And I think the problem is fans are quite entitled to question how poor his performances have been. And I'm not saying he's the only one, because we wouldn't have 2 points from 8 games if we were playing well. So the vast majority of that squad haven't played well, but there's certain members of that squad that have knocked their pan in, and there's certain members of the squad that you look at and you know that they're not given 100%. So I think that's what people find unacceptable. So there needs to be a change of attitude collectively. They all need to start playing for each other again rather than as individuals, and the attitude needs to change first and foremost and actually look like they actually need to start looking like they want to be there.
Yeah, that was the one thing that struck me. As I said, I only watched the Celtic match, and that's the one thing that struck me when it was 4 or 5. You kind of, if you were there looking, I was looking, obviously watching the game, and you're kind of going, you know, you could see guys not tracking back, guys not helping each other, just guys kind of going, fuck this, I've had enough. And there's half an hour to go in the game, or do you know what I mean? It was a strange one. And as the whole thing with Charlie Mulgrew, and there was obviously with Jack Ross, with Charlie Mulgrew and Tony Watt and all them, is that all? That's obviously with your man gone. Is that now all changed? Are they kind of back in the team, back playing with the team?
Well, Mulgrew he's been back in since Liam Fox, and the defence has solidified since then. And we've looked better in the shape. Mulgrew got injured in training on Friday, so that's how he didn't start yesterday, which we missed him yesterday because he's been back and he has been playing well. Tony Watt was on the bench, but he come off the bench and scored. And to be fair, he come on with Archie Meekison, and the two of them sort of changed the game. And Watt sort of looked like he had a point to prove, and he come on put in a shift and knocked his plan in, and to be fair, he took his goal well. So he's maybe that bench has maybe done him good, and he's maybe got like running about with a point to prove now. So if he can get himself back with a bit of confidence, then he can be an asset. But that whole thing with Ross and Mulgrew, I'm not willing to turn on players based on baseless social media rumours and that kind of stuff only ever tends to come out when you're not doing well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't know how much of that's true. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So I'm certainly not willing to start turning on players based on unfounded rumours on social media, like, you know.
Oh yeah, as I said, it was only just because obviously the Celtic match was the only one I knew all about it. When you're watching it, you're seeing the players and you're hearing the stories. I was just curious, obviously, to see had that been resolved. It's fair enough.
Yeah, no,
Maybe even just
anybody.
Maybe just even personality clashes as well. I mean, Mulgrew's a big personality. In any dressing room Mulgrew goes into, he has got that kind of, I don't mean an aura as if he's all revered in that, but he's a big personality. So if you've got a manager coming in, and it doesn't mean they've actually necessarily fell out, it's just maybe like a difference of opinions, and the manager's maybe just trying to assert his authority over the matters kind of thing.
I think what the problem was as well, Jack Ross sort of tried to reinvent the wheel when he came in. We were solid all season last year. Okay, we we're probably the best to watch, but we played the three centre halves, and that was our best formation. Then Jack Ross came in and said, right, we're going to play 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3 with a high line. You can't play a 36-year-old, a 28-year-old that's 6'5", and a 21-year-old that's about 6'5", 6'6", that can't run on the halfway line. And then, because as soon as the ball goes in behind, you get done. You know what I mean? So he was trying to play with two centre halves that don't have pace in a high pressing system and play an offside trap. It's never going to work. So I think he overcomplicated things by trying a system that he should have just stuck with what was there. And when we met him at the sort of Q&A at the beginning of the season, the one thing he said was, I'm going to play the players that are at the club that are at my disposal. Yet he went and completely contradicted himself by playing a system that didn't suit anybody that was there at the time. You know what I mean?
What about the wee guy you spoke about that you saying for Man United? Love it, was it? How's he been doing?
Well, he's struggled the same as everybody else. He's
Has he? Aye.
And he's had a couple of good games. Kelly away the first game of the season, the home leg against AZ. But collectively, everybody's struggled. Like I say, Mark, we're bottom of the league with 2 points from 8 games. So that tells you that nobody's really played well.
Aye.
Stephen Fletcher's probably been our player of the season, a 35-year-old target man. Come on, I mean that doesn't show bode well for a lot of the young ends, like
And who have you got next?
Got Aberdeen and Hibs at home, so we've got another 2 home games coming up.
Maybe need to try and get some points on the board against him, Mikey, Jonas.
Well, that's the kind of stupid thing that we'll do, though. They're the sort of games that we'll end up turning up in. So then we just need a win from somewhere. Once we get a win, I think we'll be okay. And we've been fortunate in the sense that Kelly and Ross County have been poor as well. But I mean, we're only into the start of October, and you're already looking for other teams' results. It's not good. So we need to, like I say, just get a win from somewhere, and then try and start climbing the table.
To break a hoodoo kind of thing.
Yeah, just
kind of. I don't know, man. It's weird. Teams and they can end up. They say that winning becomes a habit, but losing becomes a habit. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it is. If teams get into that kind of rut, it can be really, really hard to break that cycle.
Yeah, you just need something. You just need a fluky one to go off someone's arse in the last minute or something. A penalty that's not a penalty or some kind of... You just need something to go your way to get you going, eh? And like I say, we're the only professional club in Britain that hasn't won a game this season, so I'd like to get that stat eradicated at some point, and preferably pretty quickly.
Right, well, what now? You there, Mikey?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Oh, I thought your mic clicked there. I thought you'd been clicked off.
Like, obviously, like being obviously close to United as well with Jonas and that, like, I kind of like express how poor the results have been for United with the wage bill they've actually got in the league. Like, they wouldn't be far off, probably 4th biggest wage. Celtic, Rangers, then Hearts, then probably United.
You'd have Aberdeen, United, and Hearts. They'd be
Aberdeen and Hibs I think Aberdeen and Hibs are even probably below United.
Aberdeen are probably slightly above us just because of the fees that they paid for the boys for it abroad and that, but we'll not be far off it. Aberdeen levels. Like, we'll be in the top 5 anyway. You know what I mean?
Well,
Wage
see,
bills.
United's main problem this year, if you look at their whole team, it's so slow. Like, player for player, like, they've not got anybody. They've brought in the other guy, Anaku, the striker that they just brought in. He's rapid, but other than that, like the defence, like there's the boy Smith that had the hard neck to claim 100 appearances at the start of the game. As in, like, the guy should be wearing a mask for claiming that he's played 11 games in professional football for Dundee United. Like it says, Dundee United supporters have been on this boy's case for, what would you say, Jonas, 2 years, 2 seasons at least?
Well, he'll be coming in his. This is probably his third. Yeah, because he's still got another year left on his deal, so he'll have 4 years he'll have had at the club by the time his contract runs out.
And like he says, he's so bad. Like, he's just very, very poor player, But sometimes at certain football clubs, some players just manage to get in a game every single game, no matter how they play.
Aye. But probably because of their wages, but Mikey. This is, you need to play him, you're paying him. He's one of the highest paid players at the club, so he needs to be playing.
I don't even think it's that, Mark. I just think he's one of the boys. He's a model pro. He is a good trainer. There's no disciplinary issues with him. You know what I mean? He's as a professional, you can't question him, but it's just his ability's no there. And I think he gets a pass because he's always gives 100% in training. I think he probably plays a lot of the time just due to his attitude rather than his ability. But that's not right though, because at the end of the day,
Maeda.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like he's basically our version of Maeda. Like, works hard. He's a good lad and everything. Not a bad boy or anything, but just
you're willing him. You're sitting here willing him to do something good, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I don't personally dislike the guy. I've got nothing against him, but just his football ability is no good enough, unfortunately.
The most ironic thing about the boy is I actually witnessed his best. I don't know how many goals he scored for United, but I was at one of the games where he actually scored one of the best goals of the season.
He scored a 30-yarder against Hearts, like top corner on a half volley or something, and you're just sitting there going like,
I'm always going to go and see Dundee United against Hearts, obviously, because Hearts obviously beat the many Rangers, and he scored the goal for about 30 years. No, I mean, that's the kind of thing that like he says, just totally out the blue. Like,
that's what I mean. Now that we've slated him tonight, see against Aberdeen next week, he'll score for 45 yards or something. You know what I mean?
They'll get a bet on him next week for a goal any time.
Exactly.
But just before, obviously, you'll want to move on to Europe and that matter, but just ironically, before we came online, that me and Jonas put a wee bet on Atalanta. We've got them to win anyway, and they won 1-0 in full time. But we put a wee cheeky tenner on first goal scorer and 10-1 Adimo Lukman, and they won 1-0 and Lukman scored. So the 110 quid to kickstart the kitty for going to Berlin,
Honestly, man, if Mikey fell out a window, he would go up the way. He would. He's one. Jonas, come on, admit it, ain't he? He's one of the most lucky, spawniest. Oh,
I wouldn't have
don't play him at computer games either, because he's just an arse at the aim as well.
He's picked my lottery numbers for the last 15 years, and I've not got any place near it. So
I should tell you the numbers, but he will be in at least a tenner every week after that.
Is he showing you the ticket, Jonas?
Aye, that's what I mean.
Sorry?
He might be. Is he showing you the ticket? He might be scanning it himself in the shop and saying, "No, we didn't win, but that's
exactly,
20 euro there."
He's a secret millionaire. He's just not what it's getting.
If people want to wish for a bit of luck, we need Heerenveen to score and Fenerbahce to score against Besiktas, and that's 600 quid. So if you want to give a bit, the chat wants to give encourage a bit of luck for that, then that'll be a good start to the week. Yeah.
We're not wishing you. I'm not wishing you drink money. I'm not wishing you drink money, Mikey. That's no right.
Well, like I say, we're already 110 quid up, and we've not even left.
That's all, Jonas. That's all he's to spend and drink over the week, or the next few days. £110. No a penny more, and I want the seats and everything proved. I'm going to get Mikey on the straight and narrow away from all that drinking culture and that.
That'll last him about 10 minutes the way he puts it away.
It's time he settled down and grew up and that, I think.
I'll grow up on Thursday morning, once it's touched down in Edinburgh again,
Oh, you're flying back right after it, aye?
No, like I say, we fly out on tomorrow at 11:45. We'll arrive in Berlin at 2. That's 2 o'clock Germany, so 1 o'clock here. and we'll come back on Thursday morning, the morning after the game.
Right.
So what 3 days over there? So
Jesus, you'll be in some heap.
It's Oktoberfest as well, Terence. Sir.
I'd say it wouldn't make any difference.
Fusing.
Lederhosen, that basically.
Aye.
So I went and found out as well. So the big massive
Mikey bought Stone Island Lederhosen gear.
when we did a bit of research, so Oktoberfest is the best time to go to Germany. Obviously, the big lager, the 2 pinters that you get over there, the big canisters, €2 a pint. So it's €2 for one of them. So you're €1 a pint.
Oof.
Listen, to be fair, I'd say now you drink it out of a dirty old welly, Mike. It really wouldn't make a difference what was done. Let's be fair about it, you know what I mean? Like,
the Germans are made to see some all kinds of records set in these like 48 hours like in there, like
And then went to meet up with Welsh and that as well.
That's what I mean. I've got to meet him on Wednesday when he flies in.
Thanks for joining us, Dr. Strangelove, the doctor. Thanks for coming in again, mate. Nice to see you.
Like he says, I think my apartment that me and Jonas have managed to get, we went and booked it, just like an Airbnb. So basically on the day that we go, they just send us a code and we just open the lockbox and they'll get our key for the apartment.
Aye.
So lucky enough we booked it. It's actually only a 12-minute walk from the stadium. So I think our apartment's just getting, I think everybody's just using that the whole 2-3 days. So,
how do you think it's going to go?
I think it's going to be a very hard game. I think a lot of people are fixated on Leipzig's start to the season. And I kind of think they got beat 3-0 before the international break, and they beat Bochum yesterday 4-0. They're bottom of the league side, Bochum. But I don't think actually people realise the quality that Leipzig have in their team. This Leipzig team are not the same team that played Rangers last season.
No.
Under that Dominic Tedesco. He's one of the worst managers in German league history, with that kind of squad for them to perform the way that they did. They just need to look at their players like Peter Galaski in the goal, Hungarian goalkeeper and captain. Emil Forsberg, Swedish captain. Kevin Campbell, vice captain in Slovenia. Halstenberg, one of the best left backs in Germany. Jonas Poulsen, one of the top players for Denmark. Orban, best centre back for Hungary. Andre Silva, the number 9 for Portugal, just behind Ronaldo. Timo Werner, who they just signed for 25 million. Lucas Klostermann, centre back for Germany. Hendricks, the right back for Germany, played against England. Konrad Leimer, Austrian captain, vice captain behind Alaba, centre mid. I think he's out though, injured. Then you've got Christopher Nkunku, plays for France, their best player, like Javier Schegler, one of the Swiss players. Dani Olmo plays for Spain in the starting 11. You know what I mean? Josko Vardiol, Croatia centre back. I think he's linked with Chelsea, 100 million. And then like David Raum, the left back for Germany, he played against England in that as well. Dominic Szoboszlai, the Hungarian, like he's outstanding as well. And it's just like you see comments about Leipzig, they're poor and we should be going over there for the win. See if Celtic managed to scrape a draw over there.
I'll be ecstatic. Aye. Just big up Mikey there for the pronunciations there. Thank God I didn't have to do them with the players.
You know what I mean? Like it says,
were you reading that there, Mikey? You didn't just come out with that off the top of your head, did you?
No. That's what happens when you play a lot of FIFA.
See, I still can't pronounce half the names like that.
Struggling to remember.
It's a frightening. That Timo Werner, I know it didn't work out for Chelsea, but he's quality. I've always liked him.
It's the wee boy that had the Hungarian boy,
the French guy as well that you mentioned, Mikey.
That Nkunku, I can't stand him.
But some player.
Yeah, like you said, you missed 2 open goals against them though, in the last season, and that'll always stick to me. Like, everybody was talking about how good he was. In the big games, you didn't miss the kind of chances.
Right, so pronounce that one that's on the screen, Mikey. Stop. That Bobby Sutherland's mentioned.
So you just dropped the S. So it's Dominic Szoboszlai.
Right.
He's outstanding. He came for their sister club, that RB Salzburg.
Right.
They just swap players left. I think about 50% of Leipzig's team have all came from Salzburg.
Aye, but they've kind of done a kind of flip-flop thing with UEFA, so that they're not regarded as the
It
same
is-
teams,
this is-
isn't it?
That's what they are.
Or
And
the
it's just
same
Red
owners,
Bull.
like for that UEFA rule.
Yeah. But the boys, well, like Danny Olmo, who actually starts for Spain. We're not talking about just a squad player, like another top player. And again, Timo Werner. Come on, and this sounds like horrific because how much money he's cost. And so people in the chat will understand. Kind of Timo Werner reminds me of. And I hope it doesn't come back to haunt. That Maeda. He is so quick, but he just looks like he's never going to score. Like he's rapid quick, like scary quick. But he just never looks like he's going to score. You know what I mean? He runs, but right,
No end product. Or, no, she's not. That's the thing I'm saying about Maeda. It's not that he's not get any kind of end product. Just he's not get any product apart into it. That's and
He's not producing any of it, though, Mark. That's the problem.
he's not even
producing.
he's not assisting. All he's really doing is just been like what we said, that like a headless chicken pressing. When we're pressing it, it looks good because he runs about and pushes in, and the keeper pushes in the centre backs. But he's not actually doing anything when we're in possession and trying to win games.
Abada created more chances. Sorry, Michael. Abada created more chances when he came on. Do you know Kyogo missed the sitter, like so? Abada created more chances in the time he was on than Maeda did in the last two games. Do you know? So
the boy, I'm just going obviously looking through Salzburg team because of who they play. We are so lucky that the boy Lucas Klosterman's injured for the game because I think he's actually rated the quickest centre back in Europe. He's injured, and then the other boy that's Jonas knows as well, Konrad Leimer for Austria. What a player, injured, both out. That's the whole centre they're playing like. Yeah. So the centre back pair that they'll play
Will be their second choice.
No, Josko Vardiol, because sometimes play with a back 3-5-2. Is that
Right.
Josko Vardiol? That's his link with Chelsea and that 100 million. But the boy that plays, Willy Orban, who's plays at the back for Hungary, I think I'm quicker than him, and I'm 16. So, like he says, he's slow, so they can be got at it for pace. Like the guy that left Marcel I've actually seen Halstenberg play. He played for St. Pauli for a few years before he went to RB Leipzig. But again, he's very, very slow as well. Like Forsberg,
that could be a weakness that Celtic could exploit with the right players out there, Mikey. Really,
like,
isn't
that's
it?
the bonus that they've got, like Danny Olmo. Like Danny Olmo that plays for Spain. Like you've got like Andre Silva, the striker, Willy Orban, Halstenberg, Kevin Campbell, who played at Parkhead when we played them and beat them 2-1 a few years ago. Like Emil Forsberg and that, they're very slow. They're not quick. They're quick at move passing, but they're not quick pace wise. So I think that's where Celtic have got a chance. See if they play if they play Kyogo, they've got Abada and Jota.
If we play the way we know that we can play, we could have a chance. But I'm with you, Mikey. A draw, I'd be delighted with a draw.
Yeah, they've got, like you say, the draw, like you says, I think people, like you says, I am no question, and I certainly don't know everything about football, but people that think that Celtic should be going over there and getting the 3 points. If Celtic can't beat Shakhtar away, then if they manage to sneak a point for this mob, if Celtic manage to get a point for here, I'm very confident that Celtic will get second in the group.
Aye.
yeah,
Well, I looked at a thing, I said it on the last podcast we done, just taking it that Real Madrid are going to win every game they play. If we can get a draw there and beat them in Shakhtar at Celtic Park, beat Leipzig in Shakhtar at Celtic Park, going into the final game against Madrid, us in Madrid will be qualified.
That's
So,
right, yeah.
Aye, so a point is into a point where there could be really, really crucial if we want to even like attempt to get second place.
Yeah, like it says, a draw would, like it says, people need to realise it's a very, very good result for Celtic over there. Like I say, they've got no points on the board. This is their biggest game of the season on Wednesday. They'll be properly up for this. It's a total sellout crowd. I mean, I think got a 70-30 in Celtic's favour.
I was going to say that it's a sold out crowd, but it's probably going to be more like a Celtic home game than
What people won't realise as well, that maybe didn't care much about German football or generally didn't care, which is fair enough, is in the RB Arena, the stadium, behind both goals are Red Bull fans. at the side of the pitch is all neutral seating.
Oh, right, I didn't know. I know we were talking about the neutral bit in that, Mike. We've spoken about that before, just me and you, but I didn't know that was their fans against.
Yeah, if any Celtic supporters have bought tickets for behind the goal, and will remotely get caught for being that, they'll 100% not get access, or they'll be thrown out instantly because there's zero policy against away fans behind the goal. But in the sides of the ground where there's all the seats are, it's a free for all. It's all neutral. As we found out when we got all the tickets and that sort of day.
Aye.
So, like I says, there's I think about 8,000 tickets went on public sale on the 21st of September at 9 o'clock, and by 9:05, all 8,000 were sold. And how many of them were Celtic?
I thought you bought them all.
I got a good chunk of it.
I thought you were touting them, Mikey.
I've still, by the way, I've still got 2 tickets in case anybody wants them.
2 tickets for a way end in Leipzig. If anybody wants them, get in touch with us. No, it's terms.
Because what it was is Jonas and Andrew bought 2 tickets prior to me getting 3 just in case, because they wanted to guarantee they had tickets to get in. And obviously I've managed to get 3 tickets, so there is 2 tickets. Like I say, we'll sell them over there easy enough. But I was hoping that maybe somebody through the forum or the Discord or that maybe wanted them to try and get them to a away game. But if people are genuinely still interested, there's no more flights from Edinburgh, where's the only place that you can fly to Germany from, to Berlin. But there is cheap flights from Edinburgh to Dusseldorf still. And then it's a 3-hour train journey from Dusseldorf to Leipzig, which in my opinion, I don't think is too bad for how cheap the flights are. And I'll also say as well, for anybody that's going to Germany on the match day, if you've got a match day ticket, which is all digital now, if you scan the QR code, all public transport, trains and buses is all free. You don't need to pay for public transport if you've got a match day ticket.
Well, that's got to be a good thing, isn't it?
I think Mikey works for Tour and Travel.
What was that, Terence?
It's like Mikey works for one of the travel agents or something.
Mikey's taking yours with him and Welsh are going to be our foreign correspondents here in Germany for the next few days.
It just shows you how, I've talked about the Bundesliga for a while. Jonas likes
they always do that, but Mikey are there in the Bundesliga, isn't it?
Yeah, they're good. That's what I mean. That's what, even the ownership. Every single German club's owned 51% fans. So at the end of the day, the final decision always rests with the fans. You know what I mean? It's a great setup what they've done. It's Leipzig not the only team that isn't like that. Was that not what the kick-up was about? No, what they didn't like it was, and it's quite ironic considering Dortmund and especially Bayern Munich, just with the money, they just didn't want clubs with that kind of money in the Bundesliga. They want everything to be earned, which is ironic when you've got teams like Dortmund and Bayern Munich that have got that vast money behind them. The stadiums and everything and that, but like I say, Leipzig as a club, I don't really care what they do to get their money.
Fuck.
If I'm being honest, when you look at clubs like PSG and especially clubs like Man City,
Newcastle, Man City,
Man City to me, in my whole lifetime, no matter what they do, they'll always be a non-entity to me.
Aye, I'm the same, Mikey. I'm the same.
Another club that's just bought their history. That's all. They never earned nothing or that. They're just nothing. I mean, they're fine. Even the day, Jonas posted some stuff on Twitter and that. What kind of derby that's meant to be fierce?
Half and half.
They're all standing with half Man United, half Man City scarves on.
Oh,
the vendors outside are selling half and half scarves. Man United and Man City. That is mental.
Aye, it's actually a few years back, Mike. I can remember. I can't remember if it was Man United scored against Liverpool or Liverpool scored against Man United. And the player ran up to the opposition fans celebrating. And they were all just out with their phones, just taking nice wee happy pictures of him and that. Do you get what I mean? That league it's just a pure touristy league, isn't it?
It's just pure. Like I said, if you watched it the day on Sky Sports, it's just, you know what's funny about English fans, sporting fans, the slag leagues like the MLS. They're turning into the MLS, It's a franchise, It's all about the experience, the family experience,
Yep. It was like all the changes they wanted to make to the Champions League. just making it all this kind of wee closed circuit thing that nobody can get relegated and we'll all just sit and share the money about. And that's what it is franchises. And you've got to, I mean, you're going about this sports washing and stuff like that. And it really is, Mikey, when you look at some of the PSG, Man City, Newcastle now. I mean, don't get us wrong. I know some people have there's meant to be some dodgy dealings with Dermot Desmond, but most businessmen have got some dodgy dealings at some point in time. That's how they become these mega. They know the ins and outs and the loopholes to use to get these millions and billions of pounds. But some of the stuff that the teams that own football clubs and that, I don't think it should be kind of just forgot about all this stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like I've seen Bobby just putting the chat there. Haaland was sublime today. I mean, see if I was on 500 grand a week, I should be scoring a hat trick every game. I mean, £500,000 a game plus bonuses he's getting a week. £500,000.
I know.
No, I mean, like you say, and again, people, I'm not saying he isn't a good player and that, like, but we're now at the stage where, like, football players a week in wage are on what transfer fees used to be.
Aye, well,
they're on that a week.
Yeah, she probably when he scored that with Haaland, what did you say there, make you £500,000 a week?
He's on 500 grand a week.
Right, he scored a hat trick the day, so he'll get goal scoring bonuses, win bonuses, and all that. He's probably earning more than we got for Brian McClare. We get 800,000, 850,000 for Brian McClare.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, so that's what I mean. Haaland's making $2 million this month. If he, out because a week. Jonas, when was the last in transfer season? Jonas done United pay $2 million?
I don't think we've ever paid that in our history.
That's what I mean. When have you paid 500,000 in a transfer window?
750k back in 2005 for Lee Miller for Blackpool or something.
I mean, that's
aye. Not even just Dundee United. How many other teams in Scotland, apart from us and them, have like broke the kind of even the £2 million bracket?
Well, that's what I've got. Well, I'll let Jonas say it because he's got it down to a T. Jonas, what is this like? Because people like what annoys me in Jonas, obviously, is people that try and like talk about Scottish football and try and condescend it, like how poor it is for quality and everything and that. And what's the start you've got, Jonas, for attendances in Scotland compared to the rest of Europe?
So the Scottish Premier League's the best attended league per head, per population in the whole of Europe.
No, I mean, that's mental.
That's been for a few. That's been for the last couple of years as well, Jonas, isn't it?
It's been well over a decade or something.
Oh, well, I've seen people saying that on Twitter as well. For the amount of people that stay in the country, the amount of people that turn up to the games is like one of the highest in Europe.
Over the course of a season, 3 million people or something, right, attend football matches, which is over half the population. A country where the population's only about 5 million. So if you think about it, there's 2 million people turning out to watch football, 3 million over the 4 leagues or whatever it is. Again, that's some going considering the size of the country.
Yeah, but the difference is as well, though. The difference is as well. In Scotland, you've got actual, genuine fans. The Scottish clubs have got, even if whether it be Dundee United, Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Hibs, whoever it is, they're genuine fans. It's like what you said there, Mark. You look at the Premier League games, the bigger clubs, and it's all this, as you said, like having a half and half, or like that time Liverpool scored and you ran up to the United end and you've got the lads out with the phones taking pictures and the whole lot. It's like it's nonsense, like, you know what I mean? Whereas you look at, I think someone said before, 43% or 44% of all the income earned by Scottish clubs was basically through supporters, basically bums on seats. Down in the Premier League, they couldn't give it monkeys if they turned up or not, because they don't need them. Do you know, like, I mean, Man City's prime example, they can hardly fill their stadium most weeks. Do you know what I mean? And this is a team that's supposedly a big side and all this rest of the nonsense that goes with it. Like, but like Michael had said there a while ago, if you look at Liverpool, if you look at Arsenal, look at Man United, for example, those three, the other ones are owned by, say, the Saudis, but all those three clubs are all owned by guys that have connections or are owners of American football teams or baseball teams back in America. So it's exactly what the guys were saying there about this whole franchising thing. You know, the Glazers were involved in, was it Tampa Bay or one of these ones? I know the Liverpool guys are involved in the Boston Red Sox. You know, the Arsenal fellow was involved in some American football team as well. You know, so that's the problem with it. Like, you know what I mean? It's they're not there for the clubs. they're like it's a franchise thing. We'll try and make it more Americanized and the whole lot and get it all that kind of razzmatazz about it that they want. Like
That's what it is, Terence. Just look at it and just think of the money and well, see like Man City. I really think that all these like Saudi princes or whatever it is, I think it's just like it's like us sitting bragging about how much wages we've got a week. Do you get what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's like you sitting there, Terence, and saying, "Oh, I work 40 hours a week and I get clear 12. I don't know, but 500, 600 £600. Mikey's like, oh, I work 40 hours a week and get £800, and Jonas is like, I only work 30 hours a week and I get £900.
But I wish that was the case.
no, but it's just a kind of Billy Big Bollocks showing into it. They've not got any kind of actual love for the actual club or the game or the fans or anything. All they're caring about is like laundering money and showing off what they've basically just like showing off what they've got. Oh, I've got a bigger boat than you, and I've got a bigger boat than you've got. Well, look at me, I've got the biggest boat, I've just bought Man City kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Yeah, 100%. That's all it comes out. That's what it comes down to, Mark. And if you look at it, it's always, oh, they want to take over a club in London, or they want to take over this. So it's not. You won't see any of them going, geez, I think I know I'll invest in Coventry, or something like that. You know what I mean? I'll invest in Coventry FC, and someone that's struggling. It always has to be the big one, like obviously this Paris Saint-Germain. They didn't go in and think, I'll take over Lyon, or I'll take over Nice, or it has to be Paris, or it has to be London, or it has to be the big one, the Man United, and obviously then City have not necessarily they're big, because I can remember years and years ago, Paul Dickoff scoring a last minute equaliser when they were in the second division at the time. And it went to penalties, and to me that was Man City. That's what I would have remembered, Man City and Sean Goat and these guys playing. Not all these guys, as the famous story goes, that what was the guy from Madrid, the Brazilian, when he signed for City? He thought he was. The story was he was a little.
Robinho.
Robinho. The story was he was apparently thought he was for Man United.
Up in Manchester, and it was the wrong club he was signing for. The story wasn't it?
He thought he was going to United, and he found that it was City. So that's a prime example of someone that's going purely on money. You know what I mean?
But Jonas, what would you say if some big guy like these Saudi princes or that came in and said, we're going to buy Dundee United and we're going to smash it, we're going to just pump crazy money into it. What would you feel about that?
Well, see, the thing is, right, although I'm not, I didn't necessarily like that, but see, at the end of the day, it's a club that I've supported all my life, so I wouldn't be able to turn my back on the team because it's my team, but I would kind of still feel like, you know what I mean? Yeah, there would be, obviously, it wouldn't be the same. Like, it would still be the same club and that, but I know what you mean. Like, it would be a strange feeling, like, you know what I mean?
Aye, it's like that, they tried, who was it, came in at Dundee and tried it, mind, it was...
The Stefano, and ran up 30 million of debt and everything, aye.
But if somebody, but without the debt side, do you know what I mean? If like them that bought Newcastle says, we've got to buy Dundee United and we'll put that much money into them, we'll get into the Champions League every season because we'll win the league in Scotland.
Yeah, like...
And you're thinking about it, ain't you?
No, like, obviously, like, you'd be powerless to stop it, so what could you do, you know what I mean? It's still your team, so you still support them, but like, yeah, it's just an alien concept. It's not really, you can't really speak about it unless you're in the situation, I suppose. Hey, like, I don't really know what I would say, you know what I mean?
I mean, I think a lot of people don't like the way Dermot Desmond runs Celtic, if they've got their gripes with him and that, but I quite like the way he does things. For me, he really doesn't. We don't rely on him for our money for the main thing. I think that's the main thing. See, like if one of these big, like Yanks or Saudi guys come into Dundee United, you're relying on their money, and that's where it. I mean, look at Chelsea there when Abramovich get kind of kicked out and stuff. If you're relying on these guys' money, if it goes something else, like David Murray, they were relying on his money with the bank, but when it all went like Pete Tong's metal companies, that kind of kicked back on doing everything else he owns. I think you've always got to kind of keep that in mind with that.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
But I'm quite happy with the way Dermot Desmond runs the club, just quietly letting the guys, the day-to-day guys kind of thing run it. What about you, Terence and Mikey?
Yeah, But Mark, you're dead right. But if you look at some of the other clubs we were talking about, under the fair play rules, none of them are ran right.
No,
Like you can't have the owner of Man City sponsoring the stadium for $1 billion. Like that's just do you know how is that? That's just because these guys are so wealthy. The likes of UEFA and all these boys. Oh, we're not gonna deny them now. They're a big club and they're a big. Yeah, they're not a big club. They're a wealthy club. There's a difference between a wealthy club and a big club. You know, and if the normal rules were applied to these teams and these clubs, they wouldn't be able to get away with half the nonsense they're getting away with. And I'm to go back to your point, I'm delighted the way that Dermot Desmond and the powers to be, Michael Nichols and them run Celtic, because they're running it correctly. They don't have the endless pit that these other teams have, that they can afford to buy a 50 million player like him, and is it Calvin Phillips or whatever his name is, and leave him on the bench. He's never going to kick a ball for Man City.
Aye.
Do you know?
I mean, that's. I mean, Dermot Desmond could sponsor Celtic. We're going about like sponsorship, naming the stadium. Dermot Desmond could sponsor Celtic for £25 million a year to go at the Sandy Beach Resorts Stadium or whatever he wants, and it's just a name, but it's just a way to launder money into the club. That's what Man City and. But I mean, look at Barcelona. They're trying to force players out the door so they can meet these regulations. I think, see, these new FIFA regulations, I'm not even with all the Rangers stuff, which is a good thing. We spoke about that. It's a good thing that it's UEFA that's monitoring the finances now. But I think this is UEFA getting their rein back on them for the Super League nonsense a couple of years ago. I think this is UEFA's way of trying to get a dig back in at these big clubs about the way they're getting run.
But the fair play rule, but they should, Mark, because if you're going to introduce specific rules and say you have to abide by this rule, mm-hmm. You can't then go, we'll leave him off with that second one. He's okay, sure, he's a nice fella, and sure, look, your man can leave off the second and third one. But no, I'm going to nail you now because you didn't follow all of them. You know, there's either rules or there's not rules. It's black and it's white. It's that simple. Whereas when they turn a blind eye to certain things like that go on with clubs saying that, we made X, Y, and Z and we can afford to spend X, Y, millions and millions and millions. Like the time where Mbappe went to PSG on loan for the year from Monaco, and then they paid him 160 million the following year. Do you know, all that nonsense, like, do you know, there's all that, they're all things that they turn a blind eye to, in my opinion. And they're things that they have to look at and have to go, because it's not a fair playing field for everyone when certain teams and certain clubs get treated differently to other ones.
Well, but I think, see, if your owner's willing to pump the money in, they should be allowed to do that. But just don't be trying to date like Snidey. Do you get what I mean? If there is a break, it used to be 100 million or 3 years. It was about 30 million a year owners were allowed to. I mean, look, Rangers with their share confetti. See, that's all gone now. That you're not allowed to do anything like that now. And that was the thing. The owners were allowed to cover so much of the losses in that. But I think it is just because of the way these big clubs and even some weird clubs were fudging their numbers and doing some dodgy deals. I think that's why UEFA has took this out of like the SFA's control. Even getting back to the Resolution 12 stuff in that there. Yeah. That now, I was going on about that back then. It was like the Scottish, just the SFA that granted UEFA license. See, now it's no UEFA's actually looking into the finances, because I saw that Roger Mitchell. He put a thing up. He tried this years ago when he was in charge of the SPL and whatever it was. And he says that's what it is. He says the SFA is not going to turn down Celtic or Rangers for any European licence. That's where it came from. It's no UEFA that UEFA obviously they granted it, but it was just they just took what the SFA were putting in the accounts or the paperwork and passing it. Now it's UEFA that's actually watching it. That's how Rangers have been flagged up on this watch list. Well, a hell of a lot of bigger, richer clubs. And do you get what I mean? Yeah,
but they should, because look, I'm not sure on this. One of the lads might know, but I was always of the opinion. I thought I read something before that it was a lot of it was basically on your earnings, that you couldn't basically exceed, or you could only spend a level of what your earnings were per year or profit terms. Whereas see, when you have the Man Cities of the world and the owner is sponsoring the stadium and this, you know, it's a lot of backhanded ways of basically increasing your level to be able to go, well, we've taken in 350 million this year, so we can spend 200 in the transfer window, 200 million in the transfer window. Whereas the fact is, it's still all coming from the same person. You know, it's nearly like
they've got to look at where the money has came from. Do you get what I mean?
Whether it's value,
whether it's value for money, it's whether it's value for money. You see, supposing, as I said, Dermot Desmond says, "Oh, I'm going to sponsor Celtic Park for £50 million a year to go out the Sandy Resorts, Beach Resort, or whatever." UEFA's got to look at that and say, "Wait a minute, that's not a realistic kind of situation. You're obviously at it here."
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly my point, Mark. It's fine if any stadium, whether it be the Etihad or Celtic Park, whatever, if it was, for argument's sake, like Emirates came in and they did sponsor Arsenal Stadium or whatever, and they're giving the money, and it's physically been able to be shown to UEFA. Look, this is whoever it is, we're sponsoring them over this. Whereas when it's the Man City one and stuff like that, and probably the Paris Saint-Germain one, they're all very shady. It's very, very shady. You've got the same guy who owns the stadium sponsoring the stadium and doing all. I don't know. I think it makes a mockery of the whole lot of it myself personally. It's not a fair playing field for me.
No, I totally agree with that. I think clubs should only be allowed how much to spend. Obviously, a wee bit extra, but basically what they earn. But that would even it up. That would, even whether it is a big gap with the TV rights and stuff like that.
Well, you have to look at the safety of a club as well. You have to look at how many clubs have got themselves in trouble through the years through basically technically overspending and putting themselves in that problem. Whereas if that's properly regulated, they go, listen, to be honest, you have X amount you can spend this year, and that's it. Like for this transfer window, or maybe the next transfer window, it's X amount. Whereas you've got clubs willing to. It's like, as I said, with the Saudi guys, it's just bottomless pits. They go, he's 50 million, he's 70 million, he's 80 million. Work away, buy him. Sure, if he's no good, he's no good. It's all the one to us, like.
And it's just written off.
Write it off, like. Just write it off, like. Yeah, look at the amount of guys City have gone through, like. Yeah, look at the amount of guys that have gone through City and gone, the Jack Rodwells of the world and all these other guys and gone, no, he's not great. He's not great. Actually, look, it's only 15, 20 million. He's glad we can bid him, or he's this, I just think it's at a level playing field myself, you know what I mean? And then you watch.
Look at Patrick Roberts. I mean, what was it? His deal meant for Fulham to Man City was meant to be worth 17 million. But that was with add-ons, and if he'd done this, if he'd done that, do you get what I mean? And it's just pie in the sky stuff, and it's just like numbers are kind of just balancing books and balancing the accounts and numbers all through it. With wee dodgy scams, or look at the amount of sponsors you see on like tops and that. And look at the amount of sponsors Rangers have got in their top. It's all just, do you get what I mean? It's just all this wee kind of crumbling, wee niggly, wee bits of money just to get any money in the door.
Yeah,
Mikey.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just listening in, but going away for like all the big things and that. Me and yours were talking about this earlier. That Leanne Dempster, that's whatever chief executive or director of that Queen's Park or that went full time. She's giving it big looks in the papers today, saying that she wants a fairer.
She was at Hibs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, now Park, yeah. She says that in demanding she wants a fairer split of the TV rights money down the leagues. Can somebody please tell me how that makes sense whatsoever? When Queen's Park or that have never been on the TV in the last 20 years or whatever.
Unless they draw Celtic or Rangers in the Cup or
how would Championship
on BBC Alba
or
something like that?
How would Championship, League One and League Two clubs get a bigger share of TV right money when they're never involved in like the TV deal in the Premier League or anything? Scottish clubs, as it stands, didn't get enough money.
No.
In the top flight. Never mind any of the other clubs,
No.
No, I mean, and she's on about the Queen's Park should get more money because it needs to be a fairer split. How should it be like? No, Queen's Park went professional and sunk hundreds of thousands of pounds into their team. They've got an unfair advantage, and nearly everybody just now in the Championship, they spent more money. You know what I mean? So you can't hear cake and eat it.
They're basically doing a bit of Man City in this kind of thing in that Championship.
Well, Jonas, that's true, isn't it? regarding Queen's Park with the players and that they brought in?
Yeah, they've just pumped in money, aye. So
Like, ever since they've been professional, they've got the nice wee new stadium and that coming up of it.
well, the SFA, they've done a deal with SFA where it was something to do with Lesser Hampden or whatever. So the SFA basically bought Hampden back off them, but as part of the deal, they're building them a stadium or something like that.
No bad, eh?
Yeah, I don't know the exact ins and outs of the deal, but it's something along their lines.
I hear Strangelove saying Queen's Park will be in the Premiership within 3 years. They're going places.
They might win the league. They're second in the league just now.
Well, that's what I mean. They would be going places because they're spending 20, 30, 40 times at the next team in the Championship. You know what I mean?
Where are they getting that favour?
Well, it's like say just the sale of Hampden since they went professional, eh?
Queen's Park, Scottish Brentford. That's even I might it seem that he said I can remember something about that when that Leanne Dempster and that two went in there. They were going on about they were starting to use like that, what is it they call it, the Moneyball system and stuff like that.
Aye.
They were like,
I don't know.
That was also another one of the clubs that I got in touch with regarding the charity football match to ask to donate a top. And I'm not saying it because anybody supports Queen's Park, but I thought it would have been a good giveaway for the charity match in the sense that it's got Iron Brew and that on the top as a sponsor. So it would have maybe been a smart top to give somebody, you know, for a man of the match or that.
Aye.
And it says that, and this is when they just turned professional as well. They turned it into me and says that they've not got the means to just give away tops for charities. That's what they said to me in the email. That's what they said to me in the email. No?
But they can't give you a free top.
I just didn't realise this. I'm just on them just now. I never knew Owen Coyle was the manager.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
No.
No, I wouldn't have. That's a bit of a drop for him, wouldn't it?
Well, remember, he
Well,
turned
saying
into
that,
Celtic, remember?
Aye, I've been saying that now, but if they get plenty of money in that kind of maybe.
Well, I never realised then that Celtic loaned Johnny Kenny to them.
Aye. Oh, I knew that. I knew he was out there. Aye.
And they've obviously got Simon Murray and that used to be no bad for United and Hibs.
Is Luke O'Connell still there, is he?
No, he's playing. He signed for a team down in England.
He got I know he was there for a season or two with them as well.
He left. He got released and went back down to England. I think he went to. Yeah, he signed permanently with Barnsley.
All right.
He's 21 now, so he's no. Obviously, he's still young, but if you've not made the grade at Celtic by 21, the same as Mikey Johnson, that you probably never will. So.
Tony Ralston.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he was Tony Ralston. Yeah, he like that is cool. Yeah, I never normally would say because he is. There's not one person on this call or in that chat that's going to try and tell me that they've seen the player that Ralston is now a couple of seasons ago. No chance, no way,
Well, yeah, Jonas saw him at Dundee United and everything, wouldn't it? And he didn't even want to take a punt on him.
No, well, he was good at us.
Yeah.
But we were absolutely tragic when he came in. He stood out a mile, but he actually knocked his pan in and he was good for us. But we never got the option to try and sign him permanently. But he was a standout for the 6 months that he was at us. Well, put it this way, it shows how poor we were that season, right, in the Championship, that he come in, played for 6 months and won Player of the Year. So that tells you about how bad our squad was that season.
That's a point.
So, but what are you thinking anyway yourselves? Because we went well off track there, which is also fun to do as well. But regarding Leipzig, regarding the result, what do you think scores and that'll be? If you're being honest, without the green tinted specs on.
Hopefully, Mikey, I'll go for 2 each. Realistically, I'm going to say we'll get beat 2-1 with a stinker, bummer, another fucking scummy. Do you know what I mean? Some bounce off a sprinkler on the pitch or something like that.
I'll hit off Timo Werner's arse and go on because that's the only way that cunt will score. So, what about yourself, Ter?
I'm not overly confident after the last few games, to be honest. If it was before the international break or before the St Mirren game, I would have been very confident going into it. But like yourselves, I'd pray to God they can get if they can a draw, any kind of a draw, whether it's a 0-0 or whether it's a score draw. I don't really care. But
10 each.
I'd be. It doesn't listen. Our defense is so bad. Bit of a heart attack watching it. But to be honest, realistically, my my heart is praying for a draw, but my head is probably saying with the team that we're likely to go and the centre half pairing we're likely to go with, I worry about how many goals we're going to concede. I think it could be 2-1 or 3-1 to them.
Jonas,
just looking at it.
Mind you're in neutral territory.
Either probably a 1-1 draw or probably 3-1 Leipzig. That's what I had in my head as well before anybody said anything. That's just being realistic. Like, that's just being honest. You know what I mean? But a 1-1 draw would be a great result in my opinion.
So Mikey, you're the main man. What you saying?
I'm going to go for 2-2. And I think Celtic will go 1-up, then 2-1 up, because the defence that Celtic have got, they just kind of had a leader, like you says. But again, if you get said for me 2-2 before the game or any draw, I'll take it.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. I'd take that right now if anybody offered me any draw for it.
Big time. It's a centre half scared the life of you at the minute, like. The centre half pairing at the minute just scares the bejesus out of you, like.
Yeah, that's my problem. See if Celtic, if Welsh is anywhere near that starting 11 against Leipzig, we'll get bit 100%.
I think Angie said that Big Carter Vickers has got to get to the last minute to make it. I think that could be like a big factor in the way the game's going to go if Carter Vickers makes it or no.
I think people as well need to start realising as well how actually decent Starfelt is as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never understood why people slag Starfelt off.
Hey,
people still hold that Hearts game when he first came into the club, the team and everything. Everybody still holds that against him. That's really nobody wants to give the guy a bit of credit.
They all forget that Near Beaton was centre back. Like.
Sorry, what was that there?
No, everyone forgets that Near Beaton was his centre back partner that day. Like.
Exactly, that's the thing as well. But for me, 1,000,000%, my first choice centre backs are CCV and Starfelt. Jens, I think Jens is a big pussy. It reminds me of Julian. Paul put that up on the thing earlier, and I said that the other week. I just think Jens is another one of the players when he comes up against big physical guys, and that he really seems to struggle.
But that's the thing, like he says, with Leipzig on the Wednesday, he's not going to hear that. The guys are like he's up against
the continental kind of style of play.
That's what I mean. Like with Furahat, like Kyogo and that on Wednesday, if he's fully fit, they'll give him time. I genuinely think in the first 20-25 minutes, you'll see Leipzig will stand off Celtic 100%. They did it against Shakhtar as well at home. They do it against every team at home. They always stand off them.
Kind of, let's see what you've got before we see what we've got. Kind of idea.
They did it against Dortmund a few weeks ago, and they pumped Dortmund. Not before.
Sorry, go on.
I'll let you go there.
No, I was just going to say the finishing as well, Michael, is a big worry for me. Celtic aren't going to get as many chances as they normally get in games, and their finishing at the minute is terrible. Like, and I think
finishing against Shakhtar.
Awful, and Madrid was the same. Awful finishing, and you're just like,
but even with Real Madrid and Shakhtar, look at even St Mirren and look at yesterday as well. That seems to be the main thing. We're making so many chances and we're just not being clinical enough in front of goal. It doesn't matter whether it's against St Mirren or whether it's against Real Madrid. If you're getting the chances we're making, you need to put them away.
Oh, big time. But Bawz put up a stat there a couple of weeks ago on the forum, and it was basically going through the three teams or the four teams in it. And Celtic's basically strike rate per goal and all that was like 10%. Like 10%, there's something like 12 shots on target, and one of them was a goal. And if you look at the goal against Donetsk, it was a real scrappy kind of goal that trickled in. You know what I mean? It wasn't. You're not going to say that's not going to be in the reel for goal of the season. Whereas you had Donetsk had something like 6 shots in goal, they scored 5. You know, take Madrid or different fish, like, you know.
That sticks in my craw about that Shakhtar game. It really does. Mikey, you're a bit the same. It was garbage, wasn't it?
It was a horrible performance.
It was. We should have beat them. We should beat them. No doubt in my mind, we should have beat them that night. We spoke offline about this and that, Mikey. The two of us were totally got it with that performance.
Like, I'm obviously I'm looking at Leipzig, and I've basically got the lineup they're going to be going with. It'll be exactly the same lineup that they play with us, and they play a 4-2-3-1 with Werner up front, and they'll put Glasgow in the goal, the Hungarian captain. Like I say, they'll hit Orban, and they'll hit a guy Diallo. He played for PSG last season.
Well, somebody mentioned him earlier on the chat there, Mikey. Somebody mentioned him, that Diallo or whatever it was.
He's not actually not that good. He's like in Willie Orban. He's like he says, he's commanding, but he's painfully slow. Then they've got Raum at left back, like he says, that came from Hoffenheim. He's very, very quick. So I still think I guarantee they play Maeda against him 100%.
I get at him.
And then the other guy they've got as well, he's a French youngster, Simakan, right back. He's been playing instead of Benjamin Hendrick at right back. And then there's two holding midfielders. They always play with two holders, always, no matter who they're playing. They play Schegler and Leimer, but Leimer's no playing, so they'll play Haidara. But Haidara scored against Dortmund that game. He's a youngster. He's absolutely outstanding. And then they'll play a front three behind the striker, and Kunku, Forsberg, and Szoboszlai, with Timo Werner up front.
There they go.
The team is a scary team, like.
Oh, definitely. Even see when you just the names, Mikey, do you get what I mean? It's names you've heard of. I mean, people. It's just because they've had a few bad results and that. It's just Mikey. They're still filled with players that are on serious wedges, and they're all, as you're saying, they're captains of their countries, and all players that have played their PSG and stuff like that. I mean, it's. They're obviously a good team. It's just they've had a bit like us, maybe a wee bit hit and miss so far this season. So it could go either way, I think.
Yeah, like again, it's the same as everything. The game will be won and lost in midfield.
Would you say they're like a physical team, Mikey?
No.
See that?
No, like I say, the boy, even the boy Leimer and that. I think he's rated one of the best midfielders in the Bundesliga. Like Bayern and everything that were wanting him, and they never even got him this year. And he's injured.
Right.
But he's very light. He's like McGregor.
Right.
But Haidara that plays, he's totally different than Leimer. He's massive. Jonas will tell you.
Would you fight him, Jonas?
Well, you're as cheeky as me. Either learn to do two things, run or fight, and I chose the first option. Like, yeah. Nah, like you wouldn't have want a 50-50 with a boy. He's a big unit of a boy, but like you say, he's a commanding presence. So,
like you say, if you put it onto the early doors as well, like I say, I've just been putting in the chat there. The average age of the whole squad they've got is only 21.
There's a lot of legs in that squad.
I kind of got Willie Orban in that. He's 29, the goalkeeper. But they're fullbacks and they're very young.
They're all youngsters that bring the average age down back.
Yeah.
On you go, Jonas.
No, I was just going to say, like what just Michael said earlier, any game of football, whether it's 14s football or it's Champions League level, you win your games in the middle of the park. You win the midfield battle 9 times out of 10. You win the game. So you just need to win that, set a base, and then go from there.
That's how I'd like to see the big Danish boy. Maybe I don't know. Is it maybe you can't throw him in at a European game, but many times have we spoke on here terms, Mikey, about that kind of physical presence in that midfield. We seem to, when any teams got that kind of physicality and a bit not dirty, but a wee bit of a dig in, then we really, really struggle against that. So I
really can't believe that Abelgard never got any game time against Motherwell. Absolutely shocking decision, like just to leave him. Like it's just a strange one. Like he's been good to go for a good while now. He's again never been given the chance. Like I kind of McGregor and that's good, but he's been.
But is that? But that, Mikey, that's the thing, right? I know, just exactly. Sorry, but in there, but it's a totally different player from McGregor, and for me, he's more suited to play that role that we think that Ange wants that kind of player to play, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The big surprise, though, Michael, is, and I said to Mark loads of times in here, Why bring him? Why bring him from Ruben Kazans if you're not going to play him? You may as well leave. You may as well have James McCarthy on the bench. Just have him on the bench if you're not going to give him a game. You know, it makes no sense to me to have him bring a guy over, and he seems to tick all the boxes for what Celtic need, and he's just not getting a game. And like you, I was very surprised today he didn't come on in that Motherwell game.
Well, you see, we were all standing up when we were at the game and that, and we were obviously watching the game in front of her, and that's what we kept looking at the bench, and we've seen the players getting ready and that, and it's another thing about Ange as well. Like he says, he did well and that, but it's the same subs all the time at the same time. I mean, you want to try and change it up a bit. Opposition will pick up on the way you play, like the quick throws and that. You're not going to keep getting away with it.
It's all right making any changes, Mikey, if you're winning like 2 or 3-0. Or do you get what I mean? You just want to continue doing what you're doing. But if you're struggling and maybe, needing a goal, you're not want to just bring on the same for same all the time. And it is, but and we gave Rodgers and we gave Ronnie and we gave Lennon pelters for doing it, doing that kind of. You could predict it. You could predict the substitutions and when they were coming on every game. And as I said, if you're 2-0 up, 3-0 up,
like
on you go.
Like Maeda, like Stevie Wonder can tell you that he should have been subbed at half time. He was that bad.
Aye.
No, I mean, like, and again, you're at the game, you're watching it, everybody's seen it. I mean, when the squad came out for the second half, Maeda was still on. It's just I don't understand it.
No,
especially with 5 subs, especially when you're allowed 5 subs and he was so bad, it makes common sense to just change the guy at halftime.
Well, how big the game within? There should have been maybe 2, 3 changes done at the half. A further 2 done at 60 minutes.
Easy.
Jota should have been off. Kyogo should have been off. I'd have took Juranovic off as well. Mikey,
you're changing a third of your team at half time. You've still got 2 substitutions you can make on the 60-minute mark.
Yeah, just in case there's an injury or something. Yeah.
And I think as well, and I've said this a few times as well, people used to go mental that Neil Lennon, look, he's just sitting there in the dugout with his arms folded and we're losing or we're drawing or that. And he just stands there at the side of the touchline and nobody I know it's petty, but that kind of annoys me as well. And just see no matter how the team's playing or that, he just seems to stand there with no kind of emotion or nothing in him. It's as if, he's not even shouting at players and stuff like that. I don't know what that is. Don't know whether that's that's up to Gavin Stratton to deal with all this kind of. I don't know how they set that up, but it just seems to be. What's the word? Nonchalant. Is that right? Is that a right word?
When he's on the touchline, he seems to be a bit. What's the word? He doesn't seem to be very involved with the coaching staff, does he?
No.
When he stands, he's very when you're watching him, he's well away from everybody.
Even when the subs are coming on, it's Gavin Stratton on his wee tablet saying, "Look, there we go. This is what we need." Don't get us wrong, that's his job, but Ange doesn't seem very involved with his assistants in that during the game.
Yeah, unless he's maybe he's at the stage where he was just that raging, he's got nothing to say. But
maybe it's I've said it before. Ange's got a bit of a look at my dad about him, and the stare might be enough. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's just the stare just burns right through you into your soul. Right, we'll wind that up, and lads, if yous are finished, because I know you've got an early start, Mikey and Jonas, in the morning.
We're away early in the morning, yeah.
Aye, so I hope you have a great time on Leipzig, and I'll probably try and do a podcast and even try and get you on for a wee half hour of that if you want, maybe Tuesday night or something like that if he's on.
Don't know what language I'll be speaking at that time.
Subtitles.
I'm going to just confirm that right now. That's 100%. That's a write-off.
Well, even after the game, it's an early kick-off, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 5:45 our thing.
5:45 here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aye. But we'll try and even sort something out for a wee blether or the week or that. But thanks very much, Mikey, Jonas, for coming on. Really, really appreciate it, lads.
Cheers for having us on again.
No bother, always welcome, you know that. Same to you, Terence, thanks very much.
Cheers. Enjoy the trip, lads.
Everybody
Cheers,
who's joined live chat, thanks very much for tuning in. Hit the like button, help us share it, and as I said, the links to all our Discords and forum and everything. Remember, we're video gaming Discord as well. All the links are in the link tree at the bottom of the video. Thanks very much again. Hail, hail, good night. God bless, lads.
Cheers.